All right, time to watch some chess. So it's the first round of the Hamburg Sunday 2026 first session, and I'm gonna try commentating for the first time. Let's see how it goes. So I will mostly follow the top board, so whoever is winning, and of course some other games. I decided to watch Ugurkan. He's been grinding chess a lot in the last days, and he's facing King's Indian, which is very interesting to watch. Yeah, let's see how it goes. I once again don't have access to Stockfish, so I will have to rely on my own analytics here, or my own capabilities to analyze chess. Alright, but what's actually happening? White still hasn't castled, which can be an issue, and White is continuously threatening Queen. So, and who is who? Urkan is playing black, and Ruther von Mia. Some new player, I don't know who that is, but I'm curious to watch. David is in the chat. Hello. Hello, David. Yeah, actually, Ugurkan is one pawn down. Actually, somewhere nearby, I need to open the table, the live table of the tournament, so that I can see who is winning, who is losing. Otherwise, I will have no clue what's happening. So let me organize that real quick while the game is happening. So, where do I have to go? So in the meantime, I see White is pinning the knight to the queen, but I don't think that's a big issue, right? It is easy to solve. So let's go to Hamburg Chess Club Stadtpark, view the tournament, and here I can see the live results. David hat ein bisschen Werbung gemacht, sehr gut. Ja, ich sehe sehr viele Teilnehmer. We have a lot of participants today, 19 players at the moment. So perhaps there are some new players we haven't seen before, which is very nice. Which is very nice. I assume this guy Runter von Mir is also new. I haven't seen him before, so let's see how it goes. He's facing Ugurkan and he's one pawn up, which is tendentially a good thing, right? And time, Ugurkan is 1 minute down compared to White. So let's see. In terms of result, I see there's one win already. Benny Joe won his first game. Very nice. We might actually follow him in the next round. I'm very curious. Alright. So there are so many things happening on the board actually. After this move, there's this reveal of the bishop, but you would tendentially not want to trade this bishop because this bishop is very strong. So instead, the White's defense has opened after this trade here. King here, White king on the king side. White king on the king side is slightly exposed, so that could be a long-term weakness. Let's see how it goes. This pin still exists, and potentially White wants to work on that. So after this trade, this could be a problem, right? So knight needs to move away, but if it moves away, queen goes down. So perhaps White is winning a knight here. So Black goes for counterattack. Whenever there's a threat on the board, you try to create a counter threat. That's one plan you can have. But I'm not sure if this will work out in his favor here. Yeah, the White rook is simply moving away, and now two pieces are hanging for Black. Yeah, I think this knight will go down, but no, White is actually not taking the knight. White has another plan. Let's see. So, Black creates the attack on this, but this bishop is protected by the rook and by the knight. So I don't think that's gonna work. And also, Black doesn't really want to take this because this will sort of ruin the structure of the pawns. He still does that. Alright. What do I know about chess? I don't know nothing. So, White goes for another attack. Rook is defended by moving to c8. White is 2 minutes up. Ugurkan is not doing well in this game. So another attack on the queen. Queen is moving away to e5's queen. This pawn structure is horrible. In the meantime, Black is trying to push his pawns on the side. I'm not sure if it will do anything. In theory, yeah, there is this check and Ugurkan resigns. Okay, first win for Runter von Mia, whoever that guy is. And let's see if there are not other games ongoing. At the moment, I see Yair is playing. No, he's not actually. Maybe this game. This game is also over. My table is not updating, so I'm not really sure which games are still continuing. Let's see. Maybe I'll try on this page. Yeah, for some reason my chess.com page is not making any updates right now. My internet seems to be struggling. Hopefully this doesn't affect the live stream. So let's see. Yeah, from what I can see, or maybe chess.com website is lagging right now, or it's my actually internet connection. I'm not sure. I'm trying to see if there are some games ongoing. No, actually, this game is continuing. Hold on a second. This game is live. So what's happening? Men, also two at the trial, however you pronounce this, playing against EBGMs, who is 400 points higher in terms of ELO on chess.com. Is he actually winning this game? So, let's see. Because he's currently up to material, 5 points, 6 points, 2 points. I can't follow. He's just trading everything. And he is 3 pawns up, and this is a very strong looking pawn structure. In theory, black should be winning, but the time could be an issue. So at the same time, on another page, my website has updated, whatever that means. Yeah, I have the live table there, but it's still unclear to me who is winning and who is losing. Okay, in the meantime, I think the issue here is that black has only 20 seconds at the moment, and it's easy to lose on time in that situation. Yeah, but white has to really show some flagging skills to survive. What is he doing here? I think he will move something like this. No, he's actually moving his king first. Very safe choice. And this will certainly be a win. He has only 10 seconds. Black has to be super fast. He's playing too slow for this situation. This is not good. Okay. He has 5 seconds left, but can he really find a checkmate here? I don't think that's possible for him. It is technically possible, but on our level, is it really a thing to win with 3 seconds on the clock? Let's see. He has to show technique. Man, if you've done this, if you can do this, you gain the hugest respect from me. Don't stalemate. Oh my god. Yes! He did stalemate. Fantastic. Yeah, I guess this is something he'll need to work on, but of course 2 seconds on the clock, it's easy to get under time pressure and blunder the stalemate. Nothing surprising here. Let's see if the next round has started. I think it has, because I see some new games on my screen. Oh no, never mind. This is actually still games from the previous round, but the new round should have started. Can I find the new round? I wish my page would refresh. I guess I have to do it manually. So let's see. Hamburg Sunday 1. Chess.com has some issues right now, so bear with me while I'm finding the games. So view needs to load ASAP because I want to go back to tournament. Okay, what are some nice games that I can watch? Actually, David versus Benny is kind of interesting to me. Let's see how it goes. So at the moment we are right at the start. And what was the opening? David, no, Benny was playing white. King's Gambit, very cool. They traded the queens and now we are here. All right. So far it looks equalish, but maybe I would prefer black here because black has more pawns in front of his king and it kind of gives you the feeling of safety. And also black's development is much better at the moment. This bishop is yet to find its place in the world. So I assume this ruining the structure of white even more. This maneuver right here. I guess he will take with the rook to not allow that. But after that, there might be another maneuver from black to attack the rook, and this wins another tempo for black, in my humblest opinion. Yeah, he takes with the rook, and yeah, as I predicted, this move has happened. Rook has to move again. I guess the most natural idea would be to simply go back, but maybe, yeah, maybe he is looking for a more aggressive option. Black wins another pawn, threatens this rook at this moment, and I wonder if white can afford to ignore that. I don't think so, because you might win this attack, this check, and win this pawn, but after that there will not necessarily be a follow-up. So I guess the safety of this rook goes first. I think this seems like a natural move, but I can imagine white is calculating. Yeah, he is calculating. I'm not sure if that's the right approach unless he really believes that. Maybe he can take here first, right? Yeah, that might actually work. But white is relentless. White believes in his plan more than anything. Because after he takes, this bishop can also be taken. Pawn will not be pinned anymore. And I would assume he takes, he does. Alright, but then this bishop also falls. This is actually kind of complicated, but black is now threatening mate in 1. That's why white is making space for his king to not allow the back rank mate, like this. Alright. This game is actually super exciting to watch. I'm glad I chose this one. And yeah, let's see how it goes. A sip of tea for me. And a sip. Alright, sorry for nonsense. Oh, actually, I didn't expect he would sacrifice. He calculated this. This is beautiful. But is it really worth it? In the end, it's gonna be a rook against a rook and a knight. He actually calculated everything because this knight was trapped here. Fantastic stuff by white. I had to stay in the game instead of focusing on my tea, and then I would have not been so surprised. But alright, now we are in the endgame. At the moment, white pawns are looking slightly better, but I assume it's much easier to play for black. This rook is in this aggressive position, this king is almost over here on the other side of the board, and it will be much easier for black to attack. Yeah, I don't think this rook has an easy way to escape the space. Of course, it can move here and kind of attack in the back, but that would drop every single pawn for white. I assume black has way more comfortable position to play here. White is truly stuck. But well, there's this desperation move, a4 attack by the pawn. Yeah, black can simply blockade this and slowly progress and then win another passing pawn here. And white is stuck at this pawns. This move plays itself. White is probably moving back here. Well, actually, I think this move is possible soon, which would protect both pawns with the single rook. But then you use the rook to protect 2 pawns instead of using it actively. This would suck, of course. Alright, white rook escaped its prisoned position in the back, and now they both will try to attack. I would actually take this one so that you could also protect the other pawn as white, but maybe white has different priorities in the situation. Sorry. Yeah, interesting stuff. As white, I would just run here and take those pawns, but then this passer, can it be stopped? I'm not sure. Now it has to go, I think. No, right now it's protected, but it's soon to be gone. I assume it will go here now, yes. So this pawn will fall, and then push will come. He wants to bring the king over to protect it, slowly but surely. Yeah, this is very complicated. I guess this move is asking for itself, but then the checks will come. This check is coming, exactly. Oof. Will he take the pawns? He is taking the pawns, but black will continue his attack. King is now on the last rank, and yeah, I assume black will have a simple plan. So he put his rook back to protect at the same time. So yeah, at the same time it will protect and attack. So at the very least, this king can now not escape this path because the rook is blocking it. But yeah, it actually doesn't really matter. King doesn't really want to go away. King want to stay here to protect this pawn from promoting. Theoretically, this can be quite interesting. I have been abandoned by my co-host. Of course I'll be alright. I recognize this name. This is my man, a man who I assume wants to commentate, but he has been abandoned. Very unfortunate situation. But let me know if you want to join on this. However, I'm not sure if I'm capable to organize this kind of thing right now. Like, at the very least, I want to figure out if I can, like, broadcast from my own laptop on my own. So far, I assume it's working, but I have no way of checking or controlling for the lack of feedback. So what's actually happening? So white has 16 seconds, and I assume it's possible for black to promote, but in the worst case, white can sacrifice the rook. I'm not sure it's necessary. This is very interesting. Is this actually a theoretical draw? I can imagine it is a draw. But the time difference is very significant. 7 seconds versus 1 minute 30. Can black actually flag white in this situation? I think black can. White is taking some time to think. I would assume it's possible to win for black somehow. Will he find a way after taking the time? Yes, this is it. Of course, this is Lucena position, which our team just studied a few days ago. Of course. It kind of felt familiar to me, and in practice, white executed this brilliantly. I mean, the black executed this brilliantly, displayed the knowledge of Lucena position. All right. Let's see if I can find another game, if website is still working. I'm not sure if it's working. Yeah, once again, the website is not updating, unfortunately. Let me try doing this. And I can also try clicking around. I would like to watch Ugurkan's game, or yeah, Ugurkan is my boy, my man. I want to watch his games. Oh. Is this actually what's happening? Are they still in the early game? Oh, it's round 3 already. That explains everything. So the previous game was the last one, so we are instantly jumping into third round. Let me find someone from the top board. Someone like... I guess I will watch David's game again. Yeah. So David is playing against Runter von Mir. Both are having 2 out of 2. Nice graphics on the board, thank you so much. This was last minute kind of creation of mine, inspired by some other YouTube videos or live streams that I looked up. And maybe some people will recognize the setup from another live streamer, but that's not the point. The point is it's working and I'm very happy with that. Ideally, I would also add somewhere live table, maybe chat, but chat can be unpredictable, so I wouldn't risk that for the sake of safety. All right, but here we have King's Gambit again, actually, in this game. Actually, let me rotate the board so that it's more natural to watch. Yeah. So now we have a pretty much destroyed king side for white, even though it was King's Gambit declined, right? Fog, beer, counter gambit. So what we see here is struggle for white. Yeah, this is happening. This pawn is potentially falling in the next move, but I assume white might have something more evil. Let's see. So this move is kind of possible at the moment, right? I mean, not right now because queen is falling. So yeah, he just simply takes the pawn and white continues to attack the queen. Is queen actually trapped? Not yet. Is castling still possible? Doesn't matter because white goes for the pawns of black at the moment. So Runta von Mir already reached 2000 points today. So maybe he just created the account today? Because in the first round he was still on 1500, so I assume he gained a lot of points from the first 2 games and now he's grinding his way up. Maybe he's secretly a super strong player who we just took over from Lichess, and yeah, potentially a strong player joined our tournament. So I guess rook trade is sort of offered. So this is double attack by black. And I assume white will take the queen back, yes. Queens are off the board. And material-wise, it's totally equal. So this potential passer on 8-7, this single pawn, has a free path ahead. That could be a long-term plan for white. Instead, yeah, so white is not planning on castling. I have missed whether the castling rights have been removed, but it doesn't matter anymore. Because it's also sort of an efficient way to enable your other rook. Simply move your king up, so that black just drop a piece. Black did drop a knight for nothing. Can happen to anyone, even to someone who is going 2 out of 2 in this tournament, and this is fine. This is totally acceptable. And as I see, Mac Versus is not playing tonight. Alright, he's been skipping 2 tournaments in a row. He also told me that he is gonna be focusing on OTB, playing over the online. Maybe he thought that he has played too much chess online and he wants to play more chess offline this year. Maybe this is his New Year's resolution. At any point, white is clearly winning this match. He just destroyed the whole queen side of black where the king was castled. Now it doesn't look so safe anymore despite the castling. And okay, what is this? Is this a tactic? Takes? No, I don't know what is this, but I think black is simply losing. No, actually black is also losing a rook here. Interestingly enough, they somehow equalized, but white is still 2 pawns up at this very moment. Yeah, judging by the confidence of white. This will be an easy win for him. However, white has this resource with the pawn on h file, which has a free path and potentially can promote. At the same time, I see this bishop and it could easily defend this square as well as this rook coming back. And now on the next move, this path is not going to be possible anymore. Okay, black is still going for the promotion path. However, I can imagine there are some difficulties. So right now, this bishop cannot help defending because of this pawn. And this pawn is blockaded by this bishop. At the same time, if white simply pushes everything here, it can kick this bishop away and then move this pawn, and then mission accomplished, basically. This bishop can... Oh, well, while I was describing this idea, black simply moved bishop around to bring it here and defend from this path. Yeah, I guess there are many paths to Rome, and this is what white found. I guess it's an easier way to do. Also, I love this thing, this idea. This happened to me once in an OTB tournament. Quite easy to trap the rook here with this structure. It's quite funny. So now this is basically a rook and pawn against these guys. This trio will stay here forever, and I love that. I love what David did in this position. But now he has to survive this sort of endgame with rook and pawn against 4 pawns. So I guess one idea for white could be to walk the king over, although this will not help at all because, yeah, never mind. So I think white has to work with these 4 pawns and try to bring them over while defending from any rook threats. Could be scary, could be dangerous, but yeah, this position is hilarious. This happened in my first ever chess tournament, which was almost 2 years ago at this point. And I was so happy and proud of myself when I found this chance to trap the rook in the corner. But okay, right now this pawn is threatened to promote. Black had to take it, now black will take this pawn, and I think this is almost impossible to lose for black. Yeah, this is hilarious. King joined the corner. Yeah, this is impossible to lose, honestly. Brilliant play for David. He somehow saved this game. He promoted to another rook. This is unbelievably beautiful, and I love this game. Well done by David. Very nice win. Let's see if I can find another game of third round. Alright, in this game it's still ongoing. Both players have 30 seconds. Hendrik 42 against EBGMs or IBGMs, maybe IB Grandmasters, whatever that means. What do we have? We have an endgame with many pawns and knight for each player. So right now there's this threat to take the pawn on e6. It's being taken. At the same time, black is trying something on the other side, doing some maneuvers, winning some time, giving some random checks. I guess that could be a plan to win on time. Whatever happens, these 2 pawns are a powerhouse that has potential to promote. Knight just got dropped. What is happening? I don't know who is who anymore. And 2 seconds for Hendrik, 9 seconds for IBGMs. And, well, white won on time. Whatever happened, just happened. Congratulations to white. IBGMs. And what's happening now? Why is there Molten Chess 800 rated with 2 points? I don't know who that is, but I congratulate him on that achievement. However, I want to switch to top boards. I want to follow David's game. He's playing Bird's Opening, From's Gambit. I know the theory a bit, and he's playing all the right moves at the moment. I believe this is theory as well. Yeah. So on the next move, castling, and There's nothing black can do to achieve advantage here. I guess this is still risky. I think he could simply take here. No, he couldn't because this is defending. All right, all is fine. Never mind. I'm also not so fresh on theory on From's Gambit, I guess. After all, it doesn't happen as often in my games because my games are pretty low rated. Alright, but David knows his stuff. David clearly knows what he's doing. Yeah, I would assume this move is coming next. You win a pawn after this exchange. And maybe more. Let's see. He's not going for that. Because there's also like the downside to... Like From's Gambit, white is better if he plays the right moves, but he's also gonna be behind on development. So it's risky to go for your own counterattack at the meantime. So yeah, it's ideally to just ensure the safe to develop your pieces and castle before going for your own attack. And you'll be playing one pawn up, which is currently the case for David. He's doing very well. Can I see the live table of the tournament? Unfortunately, it's not updating for me. Very sad. But maybe on the other screen I can do that. So black is already 1 minute down and he's taking his time to think, which is never a good thing in Blitz. You want to be up on time, you want to make some moves. And yeah. So do I have a live table somewhere? So according to the live table, David is the only one with 3 points. So he's clearly the leader, so we will be following his games tonight, I assume. Okay. Let's go back to this game and see what's happening. Sorry, let me bring back my other monitor here. All right, so I have everything under control. So he finally went for that move, right? He took the pawn here, yes. He won the pawn. Now black is threatening some attack of his own. He will clearly not sacrifice the queen here, but maybe he has some other idea. He can go for the same, but with the knight. Take with the knight. Nah, still doesn't work because of this bishop. So I would not go for this sacrifice. White is playing this extremely safe because he's 2 pawns up, and this is, yeah, a no-brainer if you want to win. And I think this guy knows how to win. Knows how to win. Goddamn. All right. So black seems to be very desperate. He's going for this pawn push, but I'm not sure if this is gonna work out for him. But maybe it will. Because right now there are only 2 pawns on the king side protecting the king, so if he somehow can remove one of them, it will be already much easier to attack. And that could be an idea for black. Let's see. Other idea, I'm not sure. Maybe bringing this rook over somehow. I'm not sure if this idea to simply push his pawns up is that efficient. So right now he's attacking the queen. And one thing I know about chess, you don't want to trade whenever you are down on material, which is the case right now for black, so I hope he doesn't take. He simply needs to move his queen somewhere. This is an idea. Could be an idea in the future, but this bishop is still protecting this b2 pawn. So right now, this is not a threat. But white needs to watch out how he develops his bishop. It's very popular to develop like this, but yeah, you wouldn't do it because that would lose the rook. Instead, he goes for this move. Potentially, there's this attack. Yes, he's going for d4 push, attacking the queen. And once again, queen. This drops the queen. Thank you very much for the game. Thank you for the queen. And this is over for black. All right, David has now 4 points out of 4. And with only 2 games to go, he might go for the clean sweep tonight. Which will be the first clean sweep of the year. Incredible. And now I need to somehow find other games that are still ongoing. Let me see if I can find something. Let me click around. In this game, Ogre Khan is playing against Sobra Felina. who is also Frank. And Ugurkan is 19 points of material up. I guess this game is also kind of clear who is gonna win. At the same time, I want to find the tournament again. Let me try the other screen again and see if I can figure it out. I need to know the tournament situation. Let's see. Runta von mir is still playing according to what I see here. Maybe I need to refresh the tournament again. Technical issues of chess.com tonight. That's how it goes. We're refreshing the page and hoping for the best. So let's go here. Yes, Runta von mir is still playing. Let's go there. And Runta von mir with 1600 points now. He's been running. He's going back and forth with his rating tonight. Also another new player, Telio12 with Norwegian flag. He's having 2000 points of elo on chess.com. And he's winning against Runta von mir as well, who I assumed earlier is a super strong player. We still don't know many new people tonight. And okay, right now this maneuver is strong because this pawn is pinned, so this rook can take the g3 pawn. White sees that and defends the pawn on another way. And yeah, I'm curious what Black will do next with his attack, because he's 7 points. He's down 7 points of material, which can be a risky thing. And in the meantime, yeah, so he's just doubling down on this g file. Rook and queen are standing together. White has this strong pawn, potentially promoting. This move would be strong if this bishop wasn't here on c5. Instead, yeah, so white is offering a trade here. Also, I would like to flip the board. Let's watch from this perspective. So now this move is still possible. Trade, take. Not quite. So white is dropping a queen for this promotion square, which should work out for him in the end. Yeah, so he's promoting. Wait, hold on. White only has 4 seconds on the clock. I only now noticed that, and this could be a huge issue for his winning chances. He was up the material, but he has no time left. Unfortunately, can he still somehow save the game? He's playing very fast, 3 seconds on the clock. This is nervous. I'm nervous, I mean. But nervous situation for both players. 2 seconds on the clock. I'm almost speechless, but not yet. This move is coming next, I assume. Wow, this is very dirty to check your opponent when he's low on time, so that he is distracted and has to play some defensive move to save the check. Very dirty, but I guess this would be loss on time either way. So luckily or somehow randomly we got brought into David's game again. So he's playing against Ugurkan, who has now 3 points. And these two guys, they like playing against each other. I know that much. And for some reason David hasn't played Bird's opening, but I guess this is fair because as far as I know, Ugurkan has played against my Bird so many times that he wouldn't be that surprised by that, so I will assume this is a smart play. And this also means that compared to me, David knows many openings, not just Bird opening. For me, I would only play f4 every single game of my life because I don't know anything else. As tragic as it sounds. Alright. But they're playing close Sicilian in this match. And this is another opening I've never studied, which is something my friend Till would be disappointed about because he was always asking me to study it with him or for him to be able, I guess for him so that he can practice it with somebody, and I never really made that possible for him, unfortunately. So what's happening here? So white has lost one of his knights, which is always a nice defensive resource. And maybe he will also take this bishop in order to remove. All right, so if it's me right now, I would consider trading here. Okay, but now it's not worth it anymore. If bishop was still here, I would take. If queen takes, I take with the queen, and then this pawn structure defensively is ruined. But white is still taking the bishop, I guess, in order to kind of make the defense of black weaker, to weaken his defensive resources. But now black himself is on the attack with the g5 and h6 pawns on the push. Risky business, and we will see what it means. Wow, this was a strong maneuver. This pawn is pinned. That's why this move was possible. I would assume that he cannot play this move and is kind of pinned. The rook is pinned, so this might as well be a big issue. But also, yeah, everything is pinned to each other. Very tactical position on the board. This is not possible because it's pinned, and this king can also not move away because, yeah, because then it would lose the queen. Very interesting. So I guess one idea for black could be to move the king away. So in order to unpin the pawn. And maybe that's what Ugurkan is thinking about. But also if he moves this here, for example, then there are checks possible for white. So I guess, yeah, this square is the only one that works. And now he moves back to defend the queen. Yes, they trade those. And yeah, I guess both players played this out perfectly. Very smart players. No wonder they're playing the board one. No surprises here. All right. Yeah, this is a good move because I was assuming white would play this rook move in order to attack both pawns on d6 and h6. Instead, he's going for this maneuver. Yeah, one idea for white is to simply take this pawn because this structure of pawns is looking very strong, and I would not wanna. I would like to destroy that if I can, if I'm white. And he's doing this right now, I guess with the same idea. But will they trade the rooks here? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's a good idea for either of them. I guess it would simplify the game. Maybe black prefers his structure. White retreating means he would also like to prefer his rooks and he likes the structure for himself the way it is, or he is afraid trading will kind of put him in disadvantage. Yeah, I think this move was pretty smart. He's occupying the free A file. I would also bring to attention that H file is quite a strong resource for black, but I guess right now black is busy defending his pieces. So very cool move, pushing the pawn while enabling this defense of b5 pawn through the e5 rook, and at the same time there's this tension here. Yeah, the pawn seems the most reasonable. Both pawns are dropped, but this looks fine at the moment for both players. This move is asking for itself, yes. I assume black could play this rook to e7. No, instead he's playing this more aggressive move. So if white takes this rook, this pawn would fall. And yeah, this is prevented at the moment. All right, so one idea is, yes, to put both rooks on the 6th rank and attack this pawn, which is easily defendable with this move. But yeah, this is not the plan by either of the players. Actually, white is going for that. So I assume this is the only move. No, actually, first he wants to give a check on c2, pushing king to g3. All right, yeah, so this move is played, defending the f6 pawn. Sounds very reasonable to me. And yeah, can black defend this pawn? I don't see how at the moment. Maybe another idea for black would be to bring this over. No, this doesn't work because this would drop this pawn, right? So black is forced. No, I don't think this is the plan. I don't think this is the plan. White will see that. White will take the pawn. White will play the check for sure. But how will he continue? He will give another check. All right. He can just drop a repetition here if he wants to. He doesn't want to. Instead, black goes for counterattack. And what will white do? So going away sounds reasonable to me because otherwise this pawn is kind of risky. Or if he goes here, yeah. Yes, this makes sense the most. And what will white do now? So I guess one idea is to put the rook here and threaten the ladder mate. Okay, so rook to e4, I assume for this plan. And then this kind of checks just to be annoying. Yeah, white wins the pawn here. And black resigns. Wow, okay, David is 5 out of 5. He's going for the clean sweep. Just one more win for him and he will win tournament with 6 points out of 6. Very impressive stuff. He is a strong blitz player and he's been proving this again and again. I'm very impressed. Alright, let's switch to another board. If I can find another board, of course. There's still not many games ongoing. Let's see what I can find. Alright, I found this match. Ranvir 100, a friend of David who I met recently and who I played against in an OTB tournament. I believe it was last year in October. And I lost to him unfortunately, and then withdrew last week in a blitz tournament organized by Chess Bar. But this doesn't matter at the moment because we are in the game which is looking equal in material. This has been kind of every game of me against Ranvir. Every game is super sweaty. Okay, well, some sort of repetition is happening here. This is how my last game against him ended. And yeah, what do we have here actually? We have sort of weird pawn structure. Both players have bishop and a rook. Different colored bishop. Whoever knows the theory for that is an advantage. I wouldn't know anything personally, so I wouldn't have any advantage if I was playing this game. I would just promote, I wouldn't promote anything because it's not possible right now. Not a single pawn has a free path. Potentially something is possible here, but this double pawn structure is pretty strong. So white won a pawn on b7. And this is not good. I can tell that much. So black is trying to give some checks to kind of diffuse the situation, and at the same time he defends the bishop with this fantastic maneuver. Does he win the pawn? He wins the pawn. All right. I'm a bit confused because board is not flipped. Let's flip the board a bit. I bet everyone is as confused as I am. Okay. Now it's gotten a bit more clearer, and they're just trading pieces. Both players have around 12 seconds on the clock. This might be win on time for either of the players. I'm curious to see who is gonna be the player who wins on time. As of material wise, it's kind of equalish. White has one more pawn and is going for promotion in theory, but they could just trade, and Ranvir has only 3 seconds left. This will be a loss on time, I assume, unfortunately for him. But he is also losing in material, so yeah. And he's losing on time. EBA or IBGMs won on time. This is what happens when you have no increment in the tournament, and this is kind of the purpose. Alright, we are back in the round 6, and David is playing against Molten Chess. Only 900 points. Very suspicious, but he has 4 points out of 5. Very impressive performance. Maybe it's just another new account who is actually a very strong chess player, but he hasn't been playing on chess.com. That's why his rating is sort of low, which is okay. We just want to gain more players if they're strong. That's very cool for us. very good for our tournament. I want to have as many strong players as possible, and I also want to flip this board because I want to see it from the White's perspective. Let's flip the board. Very weird opening, by the way. It was A3, Anderson opening. Maybe that's what the strong players like Hikaru or Nakamura or Magnus Carlsen do. They play these random openings just to showcase that they can win with anything. Openings don't matter. All that matters is just calculation skills, sort of understanding of how to coordinate pieces on the board. And yeah, that sort of thing. Let's see if that's true. Let's see if Molten Chess can stop David from winning with 6 points out of 6 tonight. Very curious about that. In the meantime, I can prepare on the other side something else, because by the end of the tournament I will need to shuffle the names to see who is the lucky winner of the third Diamond membership, because starting this year we are giving Diamond memberships only to the first and second place every week, and the third one will go randomly to someone. Who knows who. And for that reason I will need to shuffle the names randomly. Also, there was something else I wanted to check on the other screen. Alright, yeah, I will need to post the results on WhatsApp group, the usual stuff, which will be a significant feature of multitasking, posting on WhatsApp while streaming on YouTube. Not many people can do that, in fact. And I will be one of the first people who have ever done that. Maybe. My OBS says that I dropped 46 frames tonight. I hope it's only 46. It seems like I lost many viewers right now. It shows me only 1 viewer. A second ago it was showing 8. But that's fine. Show goes on. We are in the round 6. And at the moment, there is a chance that White will stop David from winning this tournament. David was already 1 minute low on time, which is a good sign for White. White might stop his dominant. White might stop Black's dominating streak. So let's see how it goes. Bishop to b7, knight to d5. Alright, that would take with e pawn probably. So there are two ways of thinking. Yet to keep the structure together, either mentality would be to take c pawn to d pawn to sort of have 2 central pawns. But I think this idea is more reliable, more solid. And yeah, at the moment White is simply trading pieces, playing fast. And Molten Chess is almost 2 minutes up compared to David. And yeah, it's a significant advantage in time, which increases his winning chances by a lot. Right now, material-wise, it's equal. And I would prefer White for this sort of advanced pawn structure that looks solid at the moment. But you need to also think that these pawns can be a weakness, because who can defend those? White bishop will not go here to defend these 2 pawns. Jayant Yadav says, very impressive commentary, thank you so much. I'm trying my hardest here because it's also sort of a new thing for me, and I'm not particularly strong chess player, so commentate one game after another is sort of challenging, but I'm trying my best. And thank you so much. Also nice to see commentary, because right now my screen shows that there is 0 viewers, which could be discouraging, but I assume this is some sort of technical mistake. There are actually some viewers there. Okay, so this looks almost equal, but White is 1 pawn up, and this White pawn has no one ahead of it, only a queen and a knight. And I strongly believe this queen and this knight, they want to move around. They don't want to stay here, so potentially this pawn might be a significant winning resource for White. But Black is not panicking. Black is playing very safely. He's not moving these pieces. He's instead playing for these pawns, giving as little space as possible for White to move around. And alright, so they traded They traded the bishop and knight, and this might be a mistake for black. At least it creates a weakness for him, because now with less pieces on the board, it's even easier for white to promote this one pawn forward. My idea would be to bring this king over, but right now this path is blocked by pawns, so this is not really possible. I think trading queens would be premature exactly for that reason. Because, yeah, exactly. White wants to trade on his terms here. Because trading like this would be perfect for white. Actual winning right away. But this is not happening. Black knows that, and black will not trade like that. And white also doesn't want to take the queen like this, because once again, this king cannot walk over. The path is blocked. So both players need to be very careful about how they play. Black will obviously not take the queen, and neither will white. So this is a very interesting stare down. None of them want to take the queen, and they have good reasons to not do that. I guess it could be interesting for white to walk over here and kind of try to check, but this will drop the pawn. So queen has to stay here. Queen has to stay. I think both players want to play with this pawn on this side. Obviously these pawns are paralyzed on the queen side, but king side pawns, they are free to move. And there is a chance to create some kind of passer here as well. And that could be an idea. However, yeah, both players have to be careful about how they do that. And you see they both take some time to think about this. Alright, so something happened, and actually, did I also miss it? Was the pawn hanging the whole time? Yeah, the pawn was in fact hanging the whole time. So now the pawn dropped and game continues, but at the same time, this pawn is going for the promotion. Can black stop that? Ooh, I'm not sure. Black resigns. And white is winning. Alright, this simply means that David will not win with 6 out of 6. And I'm curious who the winner will be based on the tiebreaks. Very impressive start by Molten Chess. This game was very interesting. Actually, a lot to learn for everyone if they look at this kind of pawn structure and how to play this endgame. Very fascinating, but let's see what's happening on the other boards. There is still battle for third and other places. Let me see who I can find in other matches. As of now, I see IBGMs has 4.5 points, Runter for me has 4 points, Ranvier 100 has 4 points. So they're all candidates for the third spot, or I would rather say IBGMs is at the moment the third person in the rankings. And I'm trying to find if there are still some games ongoing. Okay, there's this game. Mr. Richard, if he wins, he'll have 4 points, but right now he's losing. He's 6 points down on material, notably. So I guess our top 3 is already clear. It seems either David or Molten Chess will win the tournament based on their tiebreaks. We are not clear about that. David says Molten Chess has 1800 divid set. And as far as I know, David has around 17 or also 1800 divid sets, so they're both pretty strong players. Equalish, not much stronger than another, but yeah. Yeah, this thing is on Idrigus rating. Or other way around, I guess. I assume his rating is low because he's not playing on chess.com, but on Lichess like many German players do. And yeah, in this game, Benny has 3 pawns advantage, and yeah, this is easy promotion, nothing to calculate. He should be able to win this match easily, either on time or by checkmating. I would expect him to checkmate with this much time on the clock. He's going for another queen, of course. Make 2 queens, make 3 queens. He's making a rook. And he's making a ladder mate. Very funny stuff. Alright. Black won by checkmate. And Molten Chess won on tiebreaks very closely. Because in the tiebreak score, both of them have 19.5 points. But I assume because one won over another, Molten Chess won against David, that's why he's winning the tournament, or some kind of that, some sort of this logic of tiebreakers. And third place goes to IBGMs. Very cool stuff, because two of these players, I think they're playing in our Hamburg Sunday tournament for the first time. And yeah, congratulations to Molten Chess, first champion of our, or new champion of our tournament rather. So I will screenshot this, I will post this on our WhatsApp group right away. Very impressive stuff. Let me type this down. Congratulations to Molten Chess with his first victory in Hamburg Sunday 2025. Also, congratulations to David for scoring for second place and winning Diamond membership. I will also do random selection of third Diamond membership on the live broadcast in a moment. All right, so this is more or less the plan. And yeah, let me post this first. And then I'll try to bring this over here. Wait a moment. Wait a second. Let me try to bring this screen over here. Okay. So what I need to do right now, I need to create some names or add the names from the tournament that just ended. So, of course, there's IB or IBGMs. There's also Runter von mir. There's also Ran via 100. There's Hendrik 42. 1 second, there's a problem here. Runter von mir. Yes. There's also, okay. Nash, Sparrow, Ogurkan already have their memberships. Then there's Sombra Felina. Frank also goes on this list. And there's Mr. Richard 16. Then there's Tua Dep 322, who is men, my good friend. Then there's Vadim 2025. Padla is a bad word in Russian, so don't use that too much. Then there's Omar Estik 2005. And then there are also, who else is there? There is also Jung Saya. Alright, and there is also Teliot 12, but he hasn't finished the tournament, which I disapprove, and for that reason we will only rotate these players to select the last winner of Diamond memberships for this Sunday. Alright, let's rotate and see who wins the third Diamond membership. Runter von mir, who scored 4th place tonight, wins the third Diamond membership for today, and congratulations to him. I will also post this in the WhatsApp group. And yeah, that's it, I guess, for tonight. So this is also posted. Let me check if someone is writing any comments. Nobody is writing any comments. All right, thank you so much everyone for watching, whoever was here, whoever posted comments. This was fun to do, and I will be trying to do this every Sunday whenever we have this tournament. All right, have a good night everyone, and have a nice week ahead. Bye bye.